Hi, I'm Kelly from Kelly J Jewellery. I've got an awful cold, I'm really under the weather, but I really want to share this design with you. It's been really playing on my mind and I really love how it looks. So I thought I'd share it with you, and you just got to put up with me being a bit ill today. And I do apologise in advance. I'll put a list in the description below of everything you'll need to make this pendant. Also, there are affiliate links to all of my tools and the bobbins if you're interested in just having a look, or if you are interested in purchasing any of the tools that I use. All the links are there. They're all eBay links. So thanks for watching, and please subscribe if you haven't already, and thanks to everybody who has. To make this pendant you'll need 0.8mm wire, that's 20 gauge, and I've cut 3 lengths at 14 inches, that's 36 centimetres. I'm using square wire today. You can use round wire if you like. You'll need 0.315mm weaving wire, that's 28 gauge. You'll need about 150 centimetres. Wound mine onto a bobbin. If you don't have one of these, don't worry, you can just cut lengths as you go if you prefer. I've put a link to these in the description below if you want to check them out. Also today I'll be using half round wire, which is 20 gauge. It's got a flat side and a round side. I've cut 2 short lengths at 2 inches and 1 longer length at 15 inches, which is 38 centimetres. Today I'll be using a little flat backed cabochon. Mine is 12mm, and 2 little beads. Mine are 3mm and 2mm. You can use any size you like. Just when you buy your beads, remember to make sure that the hole is large enough for your wire to fit through. Tools, I've got my regular pliers, round nose pliers and wire cutters, and I've got wire straighteners as well. If you don't have these, don't worry, because you can just use your fingers. There are links in the description below to all of my tools. There are affiliate links, so if you're thinking about buying tools or you just want to have a look at what tools I use, they're all there in the description below. So take your 3 square wires and find the centre point. And we're going to work just to the left of that. So now you want your little 2-inch half round wire. Then we're going to just wrap a few times around those wires, pulling it nice and secure as you go. We'll cut them so they finish behind the wires there, so you can't see the ends. And I do like to squash the wires down if I've done a weave or a wrap. And then we're going to bend the wires over. I've slid that along a bit, I just need to find my centre point again. Right, so take your bottom 2 wires and we're going to bend those straight down. Now the angle on this is quite a lot because you got to imagine your cabochon is going to sit here. So that angle needs to come right down so that the wires are going to touch each side of the stone. So that's got to be quite a bend in the wires there, like that. And this top wire, what I'm going to do is, hard to do this around the camera. I want to work this out and come back to you. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bend this wire over as well, but I just want it to sit a distance away from the others there. So I'm just going to grip the wire where I want the top of the peak to be, and then I'm going to bend the wire over the pliers. This is so awkward doing it behind the camera, but you get what I'm saying. It slipped out now. So you've got a bit of a point to it. So it does keep sliding about at the minute. That's how I want it to sit. So we'll take our other short piece of half round wire and always put the flat side against the wire. And we're just going to wrap the same on the other side there. So that's what we've got so far. So now we need to separate out our wires for the sides. The outer wire is going to go to the back and the inner wire is going to come to the front. Outer wire to the back, inner wire to the front. And take your stone, going to position that where we want it to be, about there, and then try and hold it in place. We're going to gently shape the wires around the stone a little. So we've got a shape in our wires. So you want it to be a nice distance from the top and a nice distance from the bottom, so the stone is going to sit in the centre part. And then take the wires at the top, we're going to bend them back straight, back up like this. So now we've got this shape in our wires, and we need to make sure the wires haven't crossed over at the top there. To the back, the outer one goes to the back and the inner one comes to the front, just to make sure they haven't crossed over. And then take your longer piece of half round. We're going to secure this at the top before we add our stone. So you want to find the flat side and put that against the wire. Leave a short tail, making sure your wires don't cross over, and wrap it around the whole thing. As you're going around with half round, you have to keep making sure that you haven't twisted it, and you need to keep the flat side always against the wire so it looks all nice and pretty. We're taking the tail end and I'm going around the 3 wires on the one side just to secure the tail end in place. I've wrapped twice around the middle section there. So I've gone a few times with the tail end around 3 wires just to hold that in place. Gone around this middle section a few times. Still making sure that you keep the flat side towards the wire. And then I'm going to pull the back wires together at the back. And I'm going to continue wrapping this half round around those back wires. And it is tricky because you've got to keep the flat side against the wire. So we are going to continue wrapping up there, but that'll hold it for now. And I can cut this as well. So I just had to undo mine and redo it because my outer wires sneak to the front. I want the outer wires to go to the back and the inner wires to come to the front. So once you've got it all secured, oh, I've got to snip my wire, the tail end. Flatten that down. So once you're happy with that, we're then going to add our little stone. So position the stone where you want it to be, and we'll start at the back. So these outer wires are now coming up at the back, and we're going to pull them across the stone a little bit. So take your pliers, and where they come across the stone, we're going to put a nice bend in them so they hold the stone in place. Like that. And on this side with this one, try and match what we've done on the other side. I'm working with power wire today, so my wire marks really easily. So that's got it held in from the back. And for the front, I'm just going to pull these wires forward. I'm not actually going to bend them today, I'm just going to pull them forwards. And I should pinch it a little at the top there. Middle wires, they need to go back. And then I'll just gently squeeze the top just to hold it all in place. And that's our stone held in place. All the other wires we're going to add in a bit will help secure it even more. So moving back to these top two wires, we're just going to carry on wrapping this half round wire around and around up these two back wires. And as you're wrapping these wires, always make sure that the flat side of the half round wire is against your base wires. It's not easy, and if you've got a twist in your wire like I have, it can be a bit tricky. So just take your time, and you want to wrap it around, and we'll keep going along for quite a way. So I've done about 3 centimetres, and I've got a short length left on there. So now I'm just going to bend this bail over. This is going to be our bail. Pulling it forward a little bit and bending it over. As it gets to the bottom there, I'm just going to bend those 2 wires back so that it meets nicely at the back there. And then I'll take this wire and I'll just bring it down and go around the whole thing again a couple of times just to hold it all down in place now. You're pulling it quite firmly. And then take the wire around to the back. Separate out these wires a little. And I will wrap around one of the wires. Pulling it nice and tight as well so it holds it all in place. Cut that at the back. So I'm just trying to make sure it's all nice and square. That's what we've got so far. These two outer wires, I've separated them out. I'm going to wrap them around the top of the stone on the one side. So the one wire is going to come around and wrap around the three wires on the one side, just above where the stone sits. Like that. And I'll do the same on the other side as well. This just to make sure that we're keeping everything in place. So I'm really struggling with this cold I've got, and I came up with this design and I was just desperate to share it with you guys, and I just couldn't wait any longer. So I do apologise for my strange sounding voice at the moment. I will be better soon. So that will just hold those sides together, and we'll clip them off. And just squash them together a little bit so they're holding nice and tight in place. Just guarantees nothing's going to move. Got to be extra careful with this power wire. Because the silver does tend to mark. Once your wires are pinned at the top here, pull them away from the sides a little bit, and it will secure that stone even more. Just pull it away a little bit like that. So now we're working on these top wires. I've spread mine out. I'm going to start with the two on the right. So take your weaving wire And we're going to start with 3 wraps around the bottom wire. And then 3 wraps around both wires. And that's our repeat. So 3 wraps around the bottom wire, 3 wraps around both wires, and we'll repeat that 10 times. So I've done 10 repeats of that. Cut off that tail end. I'm going to bend this right down. And then I'm going to scoop the weave around. Just going to flatten it a little. So we want it to come out the side, because we're going to do the same on this side. We want this one to come out this side. So when you've done this and you've reached back at the centre here, so you've made a loop, you're going to carry on weaving with a slightly different weave now. So we've done 3 wraps, now we're going to add another 3. And then we're just going to go twice around both wires. So now our repeat is 6 wraps around the bottom and then 2 wraps around both wires. So I've done 9 repeats of that weave and I've curved it around a little. You just want to keep going until you reach the bottom of the stone and then shape it a little to match the stone there. Finish with 3 wraps on the bottom there. So we're going to cut that weaving wire. We'll take this bottom wire, we'll shape that around. We take this back wire and we post it through the gap there. Still keeping your eye on the shape, you want it to sit nicely next to the stone there. And carefully bend the wire around. Pulling it nice and firmly as well. And we'll cut this wire about there. And we'll cut this wire too, about there. So now we're going to do this exact thing on the other side. I think I'm just going to curl this wire because I think it's going to get in the way as we come down the other side. So these 2 wires, I am going to curl them both. I wanted to leave them till the end so we can match up the wire lengths, but this one is going to get in the way. So I'm grabbing the tip, pull it round to complete the circle and then curl it a little more. And now we'll go back to working on the other 2 wires at the top. So take your weaving wire, and we're going to start 3 wraps around that top wire. And then we want 3 wraps around the both wires. And that's our repeat. 3 wraps around the top wire, 3 wraps around both wires, and you want to repeat that for 10 times. So I've done 10 repeats. Cut off that tail end. So you bend it out at the bottom, and then you gently scoop it back in. And we've got to try and not let this bend too much. So we're trying to match up the 2 sides really. I want to keep it nice and flat if I can. So I've just tweaked it a little more, so I'm happy with the shape. So now we carry on with the slightly different weave. We've already got 3 wraps around that single wire, so we add another 3. And then we go twice around both of the wires. And we repeat that 6 wraps around the top wire and then 2 wraps around both wires. And we want to mirror the other side now, so come down until you reach the same as the other side. I can't remember if that was 9 repeats there. So you need to do the same as the amount you've done on the other side. So I've done those repeats on that side. Cut that tail. And this way we want to come in, and this one, same as we did before, through the gap, and then as you're pulling it through, keep an eye on the shaping. So it ends up where you want it to sit. Pull it quite firmly. And then cut it to be roughly the same length as that one. And we're going to cut this one as well. So that's what we've got so far. So now all that's left now is to curl these last wires. So you're going to grab your wire towards the tip, curl it in to make a loop and then curl it some more. My wire was a little bit longer on that side. And then we need to curl these bottom ones in as well. Oops. As I'm curling it round, I'm just trying to pull it into shape at the same time. So I've just tweaked my curls a little. I'm happier with them now. Finishing touches. So if you take the larger of your two beads and take a short length of weaving wire, pop your bead onto your weaving wire to get it roughly in the middle and position the bead. We'll have the larger bead on the inside. So I'm popping the wire in between the weave and the bare wires on both sides. So get it in place where you want it to sit. And then I'm just going to attach that by wrapping around these two outer wires on the back. So I've gone 3 times around those original back 2 wires there. And I'll cut those off now. Flatten them down if I can see them. Now just to add one more bead. So take another short piece of wire and your other bead. Mine's a bit smaller than the first one. And this bead I'm going to position at the top here. I like it sitting there, I think that looks quite nice. My bail isn't very straight. So when you've got it where you want it to be, you're going to attach these wires by wrapping them around the bottom here at the beginning of our weaves. So I've added my bead, put the wires down on each side and just wrap them around 3 times at the beginning of where the weaves are. Cut off those tail ends, flatten them down, and we're done. Hope you find this tutorial easy to follow. and thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.